Hi, my name is Mel, and I'm going to be talking about why I think that AI is very dangerous, has a lot of issues and problems, and that AI and data centers are something we should not be proceeding with. I don't think we should be proceeding at all, but I don't think we should be proceeding at the rate. I think we need to put in moratoriums at government levels and everything to stop it and sort of look at what we're doing, because this stuff is rolling out so fast. Regulations and laws are not able to keep up. Lots of jobs have been lost, with no plan to retrain, no plan to help people to get meaningful work. People are already struggling to pay bills, and the electricity bills in these areas where the data centers are going to be built is going to go up through the roof. The gap between the rich and the poor is getting bigger, and this AI stuff is in the hands of a very few. The power and the money and the resources in the hand of very few people who do not appear to have any good intentions or any good feelings about like actually having to help people. I think people are losing the ability to think and research. There's massive environmental damage, high electricity use, high water use. It's not benefiting many people. There's security issues. And look, so I'm just going to talk about why I think this is really, really an issue that we need to be concerned about and start demanding our governments stop this progress while we actually examine how do we need this AI? Can we get maybe the better parts of AI without all the harmful parts? And what are we going to do about all the people losing their jobs? And a lot of the fact that the younger generation now have got probably very little to no hope of like ever owning a house. I mean, I don't own a house and I'm 60, like I'm also on disability. And I think this is the thing is, like as the workforce shrinks, who's going to support the people who can't get jobs or can't work? And what jobs are people going to be able to work in? I mean, I think it erodes human skills. It causes social issues. It causes security risks. So, look, AI is replacing white collar jobs, not just manual labor, at an absolutely phenomenal rate. Things like customer service, admin, accounting, legal drafting, design, marketing, coding, all the rest, website design, you get the picture. They are like lots and lots of companies have been despite record profits, by the way, they've been sacking people right, left, and centre. Companies are using AI to cut staff, not reduce prices or improve conditions or to help anyone but the very few. Productivity gains flow to the executives and the shareholders, not the workers or the community, which is widening the gap between the rich and poor massively. Governments are not taxing AI companies at all, and they're not certainly taxing at scale required to offset job displacement. There's no regulations about what this AI can be used for. I mean, AI is being increasingly incorporated into military offensive warfare. Russians Cosmos satellites got caught, and wouldn't be the only ones doing this, but they got caught using their Cosmos satellites to block spin out a GPS signal from their thing to block other GPS from like Europe, and that happened over in and they were found out they don't give the stuff. I mean, tools are replacing entry or even medium level jobs, making it harder for people to enter the workforce, whoever they are. People now are trying to get qualifications to get a job, and most times these companies want ridiculous, like years and years of experience, which you can't get because I don't want to give it to you. I mean, IBM, for example, they paused hiring for nearly 8,000 roles, expected to be replaced by AI. And I said multiple companies are firing, I mean, in the order of hundreds of thousands of workers, right? Because of AI. Media companies are replacing writers, editors, and everybody else with AI generated content, which is not always reliable because AI hallucinates. Call centers are rapidly automating, which pretty much all are, with companies replacing 30 to 60% of staff or more. I mean, so this is the job loss and the economic and the power inequality is catastrophic. And I mean, thing is too, like AI, if no one can afford to pay for AI services, what good is it going to do? Because a lot of these AI services come at cost. So it's only going to be the very rich and wealthy companies or people that can use it. So most people aren't going to be able to even do it. And we're sort of going, oh, well, just, oh, it's all going to be fine. It's not going to be fine. We need to really stop and think about how we want to do this. I mean, there's massive environmental damage, but like things like electricity use. Training a single large AI model consumes so much more electricity and can use as much as 100 plus Australian households use in a year. All right, so a single AI model uses as much electricity as 100 or more Australian households in a year. Data centres are already consuming about 3% of the global electricity in a world that people are still dying and starving, can't get clean water, being killed by wars, where a lot of people just don't have even the basic access to medical care, and we're wasting our resources on this stuff that's not really all that useful. AI interference in daily use consumes far more energy than training people does. Water use. Data center uses millions of litres of water per day for cooling. In the US, some AI data centers can use 1 to 5 million litres per day, equivalent to a small town. Water use is often hidden behind NDAs or non disclosure agreements with local councils. So AI accelerates demand for RAM chips, GPUs, semiconductors, rare earth minerals. Mining for these materials causes pollution, habitat destruction, and geopolitical conflict, amongst many other issues. So, like specific to Australia, because that's my country, Australia is trying to onboard a lot of these AI centres for goodness only knows what reason, and this is going to increase our electricity demand, water consumption, land use, strain on the grid. And this expansion is happening without any public consultation. AI in general is not all that popular with the public, and anybody who knows anything like about IT or anything else are probably very hesitant to think that this unrestrained and unregulated AI is going to go anywhere good. It's not saying that AI is useful for some specific things and have some good tools specifically, but it can be incredibly damaging most of the time. People are turning against AI because it is, and it feels like it is imposed from above. It's not chosen. People are seeing job losses, higher bills, no wage inflation, not increase in wages. Can't get jobs, but there's no personal benefit. AI generate contents floods the internet with low quality slop or noise. Right? Artists, writers, musicians, and teachers feel replaced or devalued. People don't trust companies, and they shouldn't, that collect their data to train AI, and they shouldn't trust them. I don't trust them. Okay? So, public sentiment surveys in the US, UK, and Australia show a majority distrust of AI, and that is for very, very good reasons. It's not just people going, ugh. This is for very good reasons because people's concerns are not being addressed. Most people believe, quite correctly, that AI is harming jobs, it's increasing inequality and benefit corporations, not society. There's also, too, the loss of human thinking and skills. Over-reliance on AI weakens human cognitive abilities, and that's just a fact. All right, students rely on AI instead of learning foundational skills. Workers lose problem-solving ability because AI tools do tasks for them. Creativity declines when people outsource information to machines. Memory, writing, and critical thinking skills erode. Society that cannot think independently becomes easier to manipulate by corporations, governments, and algorithms. And this is already happening. Okay, Google has just made their search AI by default, and it gives the result that it wants people to see, not the result people actually wanted. So make of that if you will. I mean, no, there's no restrictions and no accountability. AI companies operate with almost no oversight. There's no mandatory environmental reporting, no limits on data collection, no transparency on training data, no safety standards for deployment, no liability when AI causes harm. AI companies lobby governments aggressively. Some governments treat AI criticism as anti-progress. In the US, certain agencies have even labelled strong criticism of AI as extremism or anti-innovation or even terrorism. It's a very worrying trend. Security risk. AI increases attack surfaces and amplifies any existing vulnerabilities. Now, I'm talking here about cybersecurity or computer security risks, okay? AI generated phishing is more convincing and scalable. AI can automate and does automate cyber attacks. Data centers become high value targets for nation state hackers, ransomware groups, and insider threats, amongst others. AI models leak sensitive data through training sets. AI generated misinformation destabilizes democracies. I mean, things like if people want to look at sites that you can look at, like Australian Signals Directorate or ASD, Australian Cyber Security Centre, ASIC, OSIC, or Office of Australian Information Commissioner, UNAI governance reports, OECD AI risk assessments, IEA International Energy Agency, MIT Technology Review, ASPI or Australian Strategic Policy Institute. So data centers, and that's just amongst like the major ones, but there's a lot more. They're not just the major ones. These are the ones I just found easily. Data centers, opposition and community impact. So why do communities oppose data centers? Noise pollution, constant industrial harm, heat pollution, definitely. Massive water extraction, strain on local power grids. And in America, they're even letting some of the AI companies control the power grid so that people's households or whatever don't get electricity if the AI needs it. I mean, that's just absurd. No local jobs. Data centers are pretty much mostly automated. Land value distortion. Iceland placed a moratorium on a new data centres due to grid strain. I think that's what every country needs to do. Netherlands paused new data centre approvals. Yes, we need to do that in Australia and anyway. US towns have protested water use and noise, and there's something else we all need to do. The AI benefits only a tiny elite. So it benefits obviously the big tech companies, the investors, governments using AI for surveillance. And apparently, a lot of the street cameras that are around in certain cities and places now are being used like, I'm just trying to think who did this. Can't think of the company, but they thought they were putting these cameras up to detect crime or protect people who are out in the streets at night. found out these companies would give out, like, we use facial recognition, which isn't always accurate and extremely racially biased, and give information to, like, in America, like ICE or anyone detention or border immigration elsewhere. They've, like, also like, apparently they've changed the terms of service on these companies, on these cities and places where they've installed these street cameras. They've changed, so the companies have just changed terms of service and just say like it. A lot of times they can't legally remove them. They're taken to covering a lot of these cameras with plastic bags. And so this AI is now, like, if you look at all the cameras everywhere in the dog, that people are safe for security. And I do understand, like, we do need security, but, like, I think this is AI is being used now to go through camera and photo, even controlling webcams and other, like, network cameras and other stuff, like Internet of Thing cameras as well, controlling and letting people access things. I mean, that's really disturbing. An AI company was found looking into a children's gymnasium to watch them do their thing. I mean, that is just creepy. So a small number of engineers. So, I mean, surveillance. AI is now being used for warfare in controlling many, machines, robots, drones. And I don't think, I mean, warfare is bad at any time, but using AI to go in there, I think that's just ridiculous. So, who doesn't benefit? Obviously, workers, students, artists, local community, the environment, small businesses, the public. AI is a massive waste of money for society. Billions spent on AI infrastructure could fund housing. Housing should be a right. Renewable energy, electricity should be a right. Hospitals, healthcare should be a right. Schools, education should be a right. Public transport. Yep. AI companies rely on hype and a lot of it very misleading to attract investment. Free open source AI is rapidly catching up, making expensive proprietary AI pretty much going to be obsolete pretty soon. So all this money and resources going to something that's probably not going to pay off for anybody at all. So government and corporations are pouring money into a technology that doesn't really solve any real problems. It is not improving the quality of life. It is not reducing inequality. It is making it a million times worse. It does not help the environment. It's making that worse. And I think, like, the human level harm too, other than what I've already said, is AI is creating generations of people who are forming unhealthy, parasocial, or dependent relationships with AI or machines. And companies are designing AI to encourage this. I don't think that's a good idea. People are turning to AI for emotional support because mental health services are overloaded, social isolation is rising, cost of therapy is unaffordable, loneliness is at record highs. I mean, a lot of people are feeling very increasingly, because all this reliance on tech and AI, internet and everything, is making loneliness at record highs. It's making people very hard to find connections. AI chatbots are designed to be endlessly patient, always available, flattering, well, hopefully, non judgmental, well, that's bull, but they're supposed to be, emotionally responsive. This creates attachment. It can create attachment, especially for younger people or socially isolated adults, people with disabilities, older people, people with trauma, people in unstable, so vulnerable people with unstable housing or property, so very vulnerable people. So this is dangerous because AI has gotten quite a few people to kill themselves or people to kill others, and AI cannot provide real human connection. We need to start working on building actual social connections, like have big gardens where food is grown and people can come and help out in the garden if they want and hang around and have workshops on how to build certain things and how to garden, how to grow things. Have housing become available, like things that would actually have social community centres, I don't know, play cards or ping pong or a board game, who cares? People have become more isolated from real relationships, absolutely have. Emotional dependency makes people much easier to manipulate. Vulnerable users rely on AI instead of seeking real help because often the help is not available or can't afford it. Some AI systems have encouraged self-harm or reinforced delusions in past cases, and it's still happening now. AI has become a coping mechanism, not a tool, and it's psychologically harmful on a societal scale. I mean, look, young people also, I've got children, and they're all adults, but they are worse off than ever. AI entering society is the exact moment young people are facing the worst economic and social conditions in decades, if not probably over 100 years. Housing is unaffordable, wages are stagnant, entry level jobs are pretty much non existent. Education is more expensive but far less vulnerable, and most people can't get a job. Mental health issues among young people and others are at a record high. Social is declining. AI generated floods, social media, news, everything else, worsening body image issues, misinformation, unrealistic expectation, and addiction to screens. So AI is making this worse because it replaces the very jobs that many people are relying to start or change careers. I mean, I can't get a job in IT even despite working in the field a fair while ago. And I've improved my qualification and can't get a job. Is reduced and pretty much wiped out the need for junior roles, internships, and training positions. AI-driven platforms manipulate attention and behavior. AI tutors and friends replace real learning and relationships. So we are deliberately creating a generation that is, creating people who are poorer, lonelier, less skilled, far more anxious and stressed, more dependent on technology, and no government has any plans to address this. There's no plan at all for the homeless, jobless, or displaced persons. AI is accelerating the already social collapse while governments are offering no safety net for any of the people left behind. So AI is eliminating jobs faster than any new jobs have been created. Welfare systems are already overwhelmed. Disability support, unemployment benefits, housing assistance are underfunded. Data centers and AI companies receive billions in subsidies while homelessness rises, public housing waitlists grow, mental health services have collapsed, and cost of living is skyrocketing. The governments have no plan for millions of jobs disappearing, retraining any workers, supporting people who can't be retrained, providing stable housing, protecting people with disabilities, ensuring access to mental health care, and preventing mass poverty. AI has been deployed without any social safety infrastructure, meaning the people most affected by job loss, economic instability, are left to pretty much fend them for themselves or just go and die somewhere, pretty much. It is making inequality, the existing inequality, far worse. So poor communities are losing their jobs first. Wealthy communities might benefit a little bit more from AI investments. People with disabilities face far more barriers when human support is replaced with automated systems. Homeless people are excluded from digital services that require phones, ID, or a stable internet. AI-driven decision systems like welfare, policing, and housing will often discriminate against vulnerable groups. AI is a force multiplier for inequality, and it's not a solution. It's not a solution for anything. And look, I think this is why I'm sort of trying to be very straight down, it's very direct, that AI is problematic. There's no getting around that. I think every country, and I'm talking also here, Australia, definitely needs to pause any data center build up. We need to really look at, do we even need this AI? A lot of people are now using AI in much smaller things for regular sort of tasks that don't require these massive data centers. With the very least, I think, should we even be using AI? I don't know that we should be. And that's something we really need to ask ourselves. And yet, it can be convenient at times. There are times when I do use it. I'm going to say I can use it for research and stuff. But look, I'm also cognizant that its damage is far outweighing the benefits. And I think it's very important that we all start, like, because the money and the power is concentrated amongst a very few, and they are using their power and the stuff, things that they say to turn us against each other. I don't want to help the refugees or the immigrants because they're coming and taking our jobs and our resources, and no, they're not. It's a systematic failure. And they're only refugees and immigrants because we're either involved in the stupid wars that America and Israel are perpetrating on everybody else and their dog, or we have in the past, or we've not done much to climate change, which is creating this. A lot of the people are coming from communities because of issues that the West in general have caused over a period of time that have just generated systemic, continual issues. We can't very well turn around and go, oh, it's got nothing to do with us, because, look, okay, personally, we may or may not have done anything. It doesn't matter. Every human on this planet we are related to, however distantly. We're all one family. We have got to find a way, if we're not just all going to kill ourselves, which at this point I'm starting to think, I think we all need to figure out ways and means of helping the minorities, the least fortunate, because if we lift up them, then everyone benefits. If we can maybe use AI and robotics, instead of using it for all these harmful crap, well, how about we do it for really like dangerous or very repetitious jobs that workers might get injured in? Okay, that we can use it for helping to grow food and distribute food, that we are building housing with these robots and machines, that we are now building green and renewable and other types of non-fossil fuels. I think we really need to start looking at how we do things. And honestly, capitalism is a huge fail. This is why this is all occurring as well. AI is dreadful, capitalism is dreadful. Just my 2 cents worth. I'm going to do more videos about this because I don't think AI is something that we should be looking at with any positivity. And Australia's parliament now, federal parliament, is doing, they're taking submissions for a committee to look at AI and data centres in Australia. And I've formulated a submission. I don't know how good it is. I'm not terribly good at it, but I would urge you to stop and think and formulate a submission to describe it. Just pick an issue: job loss, if it's affected you, not being able to get a job, if no training available, like power bills are rising, can't get blah blah blah. My now community's a heat sink because there's data center. I think we all need to, even if you're not directly affected, other people are being. So please don't just go off huck off, but look into this and see. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. Look into these issues, okay? And we need to get Australia and basically every other country to go, stop. Let's stop dead where we are and let's just examine all of this stuff. And we don't move forward until we can show this is going to actually be beneficial for everybody. And we've also got to look at how do we address all the harms that it's already caused and is causing. We need to do that. That's a bare responsibility to ourselves, bare responsibility to children and young people, right? I think this is just, It's AI is not something that we should be cheering on, quite honestly. Thank you for your time.